In today's video, we're going to be showing you guys our official severe weather season forecast. This is actually just going to be the remaining severe weather season forecast because we've already seen some of it already happen. We are using our trilogy maps here. That's my other business here, as you can see on the bottom left. So we're going to talk about that real quick and then get right into things. I am extremely excited to announce that I have launched my second business called Trilogy Maps. You can check it out at trilogymaps.com in the description and the pinned comment down below. We have gone ahead and created the highest definition and most customizable digital maps you can find anywhere here on the internet at an extremely affordable price as well, might I add. These maps are so customizable due to our very unique layering system that make it possible to basically create whatever map you like. I seriously wish this was around when I first got into weather, because making weather maps that look extremely professional has never been this easy before. So if you want the highest definition, most customizable, and most professional looking weather maps that you can possibly make for a very affordable price, go ahead and check out trilogymaps.com. And we're actually doing a 50% discount until May 1st, so be sure to grab these maps before May 1st because they will be doubling in price by that point. All right, now let's talk about it. We have our May temperature forecast on screen here because we're going to talk about how our expectations for the temperatures and precipitations are going to impact that severe weather forecast. We actually do have some graphics that we've gone ahead and built today using our maps to show you guys exactly where we expect the worst of the severe weather to be, so obviously stay tuned for that as well. For the month of May at least, we do expect some cooler conditions here in the west, and what this is going to do is create a lot of situations where there's cold fronts rolling through, where there's warm temperatures surging up. As you can see, we've talked about this for months now, a low up on the northern side of things, and then you see bad severe weather along it. So usually the worst setup for severe weather is cold in the west, warm in the east, because you see those cold fronts hitting the warm air. Everything from west moves to east. That's obviously how things move. We see warmer conditions in the west, colder conditions in the east. Typically, we see a reduced amount of severe weather. So that is a pretty simplistic way of basically predicting whether there will be above average or below average amounts of severe weather overall. Now, that doesn't for sure mean that we will see below average or above average severe weather, but it is a rule of thumb that does help out a lot. And in this case, we obviously have the worst of two, with the warm conditions expected in the east and the cold conditions expected out west. Now, you can check out this video. We did make a video on the May forecast to see the whole thing. We'll really break it down, but let's move on to the precipitation. We do expect more in the east here, as you can see, and much drier up in the west. So you can anticipate a little bit less, perhaps, severe weather for the northern plains and upper Midwest, and a bit more on the southern extent of things in that severe weather alley. So Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Missouri, Louisiana, Mississippi, Tennessee, Kentucky, Indiana, Illinois, Alabama. These are the areas we're going to be watching for more storms than what's typical. Obviously very volatile, as we're going to have warmer than normal conditions in these areas, and then the cold hitting from the side as cold fronts inevitably roll through. Certainly going to be an interesting situation to track. I really feel like this is setting up to be a pretty darn active severe weather season. This is our overall forecast for that May forecast. We're not going to talk about this or even really this hardly. We're mostly going to focus in on here because we do expect a lot of that temperature interaction with the cold fronts to happen in that pink area. So we do expect actually an increased amount of severe weather here for the month of May, but also more severe weather outbreaks possible on the eastern front. So areas like Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee. All of these areas we expect more severe weather outbreaks to occur in the upcoming pattern. Certainly something that we're going to be watching out for here, as the month of May is obviously historically very, very very active for severe weather. Obviously April and May being that tornado months, the severe weather months that we see the worst of it typically. So we're going to be watching extremely closely here in the month of May that we're showing you here, but also the summertime. We do see a lot of severe weather as well. So here is our summer forecast. First off, going over the temperatures again, we do expect a bit of a cool down here for a majority of the summer months here for these areas. And this might mean that we have some really big cold fronts rolling through these areas. Iowa, Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, Arkansas, Illinois, Wisconsin, and even up through Minnesota. This could be the area to watch, as again, that cool down means that likely there's going to be some cold fronts rolling through these areas. from time to time, especially on the southern extent of this area, Kansas, Missouri, and downward. That is where I expect a lot of this to be occurring. Also, you can't rule out anything here in the Ohio Valley or the kind of deeper south or even the Appalachian Mountains or East Coast in the summer. You can see some severe weather. So really, really watching it. I think it's interesting. The more middle of the nation you go, the more their worst severe weather is towards the earlier spring. And the East Coast actually kind of peaks in June and July with the most thunderstorms and most severe weather. It's pretty interesting to me how it kind of works its way outward like that, but that is how it works historically. I would love to know the exact reasons for that. I'm assuming it's because of the ocean temperatures warming up through the summer and allowing for more warmer air to move through, and I don't know, something like that is probably why. But it is interesting to me how different areas have different peaks of that tornado and severe weather seasons. Now, the precipitation during the summer, we also expect a lot more storminess here across a lot of your eastern and deeper south United States. So we expect more storminess in these areas, which overall could translate towards more severe weather overall. Certainly something to watch, but again, more of that transitionary area for the temperatures would be this pocket here to watch, where those cold fronts are really likely to work its way through, and there's kind of a battle zone between the temperatures, the warm and the cold, basically. When we take a look at the overall forecast I've specified in our summer forecast, which again, just like the May one, you can check it out. We have uploaded it already. But this area here is especially where we're watching for that severe weather, just because there's a lot of cold here, there's a lot of warmth here, and everywhere in between is going to be the battle zone between those two air masses that we really, really need to watch. So I hope that gives you a bigger picture as to what we expect during the months of May. First off, in that May forecast, and not only that, but the summer forecast that we took a look at here as well. Let's take a look at those specific graphs for the rest of 2023, the severe weather that I'm personally expecting. I really feel like we could be seeing more severe weather here in these areas. So definitely more severe weather for these areas in between the cold and the warmth, like I mentioned earlier. So I expect an above average amount from May through August, maybe even for the fall months, although that's a whole different story, so we'll need to kind of re-follow up with this. But this mostly goes for the spring and summer, the more foreseeable future. We do expect even more for this red area. That's where I expect it to be especially active. So Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, Iowa, Missouri, Arkansas, and some of those surrounding states as well involved. So this is the area that I'm mostly seeing the most ripe conditions. Obviously, bad severe weather could happen outside of these areas. Above average severe weather could happen outside of these areas. But the signs are pointing towards this area. And you can never be perfect when forecasting something, but this is where the signs are pointing. We actually have an area where we expect below average a little bit, and that's going to be for these areas here, where I just don't think the conditions are quite as ripe as they are historically. So I expect more of a traditional Tornado Alley severe weather season this year, as opposed to that kind of newer eastern area that we've seen a lot in recent years. So that is my expectations for the upcoming severe weather season. Thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to subscribe. We do upload every single day. Even hit the bell icon for daily notifications when we upload so you never miss one. Also, be sure to like the video if you did enjoy it. Leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.